Hello, and thanks for tuning in. The purpose of this video is to showcase to you kind of how school AI can be used in order to create a RPG experience that covers the content of standards. This is great for a warm-up or just like a general practice or activity that you can do with your class in order to initialize or practice a new skill set in correlation to the standards. So the first thing you want to do is click create a space, and you're going to see title and prompt. I normally label it whatever is going to be the most authentic in that situation. So in this case we'll do like ELA, evidence, usage, and the prompt is where you actually say what you want this space to do. So you can see here it already says do text-based RPG. And you can just put that in and let it run, but it's not the most intuitive piece. I've already created some examples as to how it works, and I've run through those so you can see exactly what it looks like. So just so you are aware, this tool is really fun and interesting and interactive for the students, but it can be flawed, and it can also be a little bit redundant. So we have to make sure that when we do our prompt, we're telling it exactly what we want to see, because this will really never end. It will just kind of cycle them through questions endlessly once you've hit bedrock of the experience. So that's one thing that we're going to have to look out for. And really with all AI, you got to make sure that your prompt is going to be accurate and authentic to what the experience is that you're trying to give the kids. So here, this is my showcase of a weak prompt. It's just the text-based RPG, and I have my standards selected, which is something you're allowed to do. You can literally go here, and I already have it set to Georgia 8th grade English Language Arts Standards, and I can select any of these for it to build that RPG experience and to teach the kids through the process. So the standard that I've selected for this showcase is going to be this one here, which is all about using evidence to support your analysis of what the text is saying, and as well as making inferences. So basically in the weak prompt, what we have here is a fantasy story that I selected from mystery and sci-fi as well, where I decide to go down a path of glowing mushrooms, and it asks me to support that claim of going through this dark enchanted forest. So I know it's going to be dark, so I was like, I'll follow the glowing mushrooms because it'll be light. And it says great reasoning, and it explains why that choice kind of matters. It continues to overlay the experience, and I just interact, and I give my rationales. It gives me more circumstances. It encourages me to break down and analyze the story that it's giving me in order to solve it. And at the end, I kind of find a treasure. And sometimes it gets stuck. Sometimes you have to work with it, and so it's a good idea to notify your students that maybe they might have to repeat themselves or clarify or insist on their answer if they want the story to progress, because sometimes it can get a little stuck because this isn't perfect. Basically, I find the treasure, and then it just keeps saying, good job, good job. Where can you use this? What did I do? Where do you use this? 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 And it will just run you through question over after over. So I recommend having a cutting off point. I try to make it a little bit more obvious, so I include all of this in my AI prompt. So this is an example of a better prompt, in my opinion, using key information from the standard. Start by explaining. So I still have that prereq text-based RPG, and I ask the program to start by explaining the purpose of the exercise, and then I ask it to guide the user through the process by identifying and using evidence, by giving clear hints and opportunities. You can also probably ask it to prioritize a specific age range. You can also ask it to cater to specific students, like if they see that they're struggling, maybe reduce the rigor, something like that. Well, no, not reduce the rigor. Sorry, that's the wrong way to say. But definitely maybe try to make it a little bit more accessible. But give students the opportunity to draw inferences after they have, and I like this one. I like including this because that way there is a clear end after the user has mastered using evidence by consistently and accurately identifying and using evidence to support their decisions and inferences. Shift the story to a rewarding conclusion and notify the student that they have successfully mastered evidence usage. So this one is a lot shorter. It's a lot less redundant. This one, it kind of really doesn't know what you want from it. It's just taking test-based RPG, combining it with the standard, and generating the best thing that it can. And it's still pretty good, but it is a little less clear what they are expected to do. Whereas this one, you can see that the AI is definitely trying to get you to approach it from a evidence usage perspective. And then in this one, I solve a mystery of a break-in at the library instead of locating a treasure, which is good for evidence usage. Eventually, I tracked the guy down who did the break-in, and see, even with this good prompt, it still gets stuck, because it's like, oh, what questions might be useful? I ask them, and then they go, good job, those are good questions, and then just moves on. Sometimes you just have to insist, and it'll go, yeah, you're right, and continue on. So like here I had to ask, did I learn anything from asking those questions? And then they go, yeah, you did, and they give me the story. So if it ever gets a little hung up, the student can just work through it, and it doesn't take too long. And then this is why I like to say that conclusion. It goes, you did it. You used every clue, asked smart questions, and explained your reasoning clearly. You showed real detective skills, gathering evidence, making inferences, and thinking about motives. You've mastered supporting your conclusions with strong evidence, just like a pro. And see, it tries to just loop the content. Like, how do you feel? And it kind of just gets them reflecting, which is fine and good. Like, we want them to reflect, and that's nice for the kids to go through. When they finish, it's kind of like a little acceleration to the situation, but I would definitely have a call to end time associated with using this as an activity, just because, it will go on forever if you let it. So you can launch that, you can launch it the way that I just did, and it'll give you a couple of ways to do it. You can add this to Canvas, creating a section, and you can also use a QR code on the front board, use it with a shareable link. So you can have this on a warm-up slide, or you could just have this ready to go in Canvas if this was an activity that you wanted students to use to explore different standards and concepts. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty straightforward, and it does take quite a bit of time. Like, doing each one of these prompts probably took me well over 25-30 minutes, so make sure that you block out a decent amount of time for this to be done in class, or use the prompt in order to say, like, make sure that it's brief, like, keep this experience as brief as possible. Oops. Might be a good prompt if you're trying to do this as a warm-up instead of as like the holistic activity, but it is honestly a pretty good holistic activity for exploring some of these literary concepts, because it gives them both the opportunity to read and to write in a reactive, responding story to each specific student. So honestly, I think it's a great tool to utilize in ELA. So I hope this helps. Thank you for paying attention, and I'll see you later.